Namaskaram. Now, we have all heard about the fact that Sri Chakra is a cosmic map of the entire universe. But this is made as a statement in passing, but a lot of people don't understand how significant this statement is and what it actually means. So, today we shall explore into the Sri Chakra as a graphical view, a graph of reality or Satya. So, that is the context by which we shall look at the Sri Chakra today, and this has to be seen as the correct and complete message Satyam of Satya Yugam as given by Vale Kalki. Okay, so if we are talking about Satyam and reality, the first thing we have to understand is that the reality is something which exists in all the states of awareness. By that principle, the world that we see around us right now, even though it feels like real, it feels solid with substance, physical, when we go to sleep at night, we are not able to feel this world at all. The people around us, the things, everything disappear completely. So that is the understanding that the world is a drama, like a dream. It is unreal. It is called as Maya or Mityam, Jagat Mitya. So that world is being explained by the Sri Chakra. Now, so if we look at the Sri Chakra as a graph, as a two-dimensional graph, so it has length and width or vertical and horizontal directions. So ideally, we view the top of the Sri Chakra as Purva or east, and the bottom of the Sri Chakra is called Paschima or west. So if that is the case, then the left, to our left of the Sri Chakra is Uttara or north, and to our right we have Dakshina or south. That is how the Sri Chakra is typically positioned. So let us first explore what these directions actually mean. So Purva, Paschima, east and west. Purva means Purvikam or early, original, primordial, and Paschima means Paschat, later on. So clearly what it means is east is earlier on and west is later on. So this axis, the east-west axis, is the axis of time, where time flows from east to west. East is early, west is late. So east-west axis, which is the top-bottom axis, is the time axis, where time flows from top to bottom. Now, Dakshina. Dakshina means right-handed. It also means Daksha. Daksha means dexterity or the skill in doing work. So that is where we get the word dexterity. So it is a work axis or karma axis, because the right hand side is corresponding to the Pingala Nadi of our body, which is the active Nadi. So when this Nadi is dominant, we are active, we do work, we exert ourselves physically. Contrary to that is the northern direction, which is Uttara. So south is right, north has to be left. So left means Ida Nadi, the left hand side Nadi of our body, and also Uttara means Uttar, answers. Uttar means answer or response to a question. So this is the state of questioning and getting answers. It's a philosophical state. So when the Ida Nadi is dominant, we are less active and we spend more time in philosophy, information, intuition, and all that. So basically, you can broadly say that it is jnana or wisdom, knowledge. So the right hand side, dakshina or south, is karma. The left hand side, uttara, is jnana, north. And time flows from top to bottom, early to late. So this is a two-dimensional graph, a graph of reality. So that is the Sri Chakra. Now, but what happens is we only have two nadis. We are usually, as human beings, we have two eyes, two nostrils, two ears, two legs, two hands, two hemispheres of the brain. So it's all two. And the two is nothing but Ida and Pingala, the Dakshina and Uttara. So that is the original axis of our body. The other axis, the time axis, top down axis, is forced upon us by nature or God. Alright. So what this means is, people who are familiar with physics and the theory of relativity will be able to understand this. So what happens is there are only straight lines, horizontal straight line like the one seen at the top of the Sri Chakra. So this kind of a horizontal straight line from the leftmost point to the rightmost point, from Ida to Pingala, that's a straight line. But when you place a heavy object, so if you imagine the entire Sri Chakra like a straight line or a sheet filled with straight horizontal lines, and you place a heavy steel ball on top of the sheet, it is going to bend the sheet and all the lines are going to bend. So all the lines are going to bend in such a way that they will become circular. So that heavy ball or is called as singularity in physics, a point of infinitely heavy mass and weight and force is there at the center of the Sri Chakra. This point we call it as the Bindu or the singularity. So at this point you have God. So when God enters the Sri Chakra and occupies the center point, his mass or his weight makes these straight lines bend around him, just like how planets, which would be in a straight path, when they are in the presence of a star, they bend their path so that they start rotating the star. So all straight lines become curves, circles around the Bindu. That is why you find the Sri Chakra as concentric rings, petals, triangles, and all that. That is because they were all initially straight lines, but the presence of the God at the center as singularity has made the entire thing bend around it. So that is called the curvature. In relativity is called as the curvature of space-time. So this is curvature. And that force in the center is called as gravity, because it attracts everything around it and makes it bend. But the Sanskrit word for gravity is gurutva. So gurutva refers to guru. So who is the guru? Guru is nothing but the original form of God, the force at the center which bends everything around it. But force is a dynamic thing. Force cannot exist as a static thing. So when there is electric force, there is movement of electrons. When there is mechanical force, there is movement of machine or body parts or something. When there is sound or light force, there is movement of sound waves or light waves. What happens when there is gravity force? how do you create gravity force? So what the Guru has done, so when we say Guru, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So the Parabrahma, the original reality, the original God is Guru. And what it does is, it creates itself as a male and female. We call it Kameshwara and Kameshwari. And then, so when the male and female are together, there is the love between them. So this love causes interaction between Kameshwara and Kameshwari. It is that movement which creates the force of Gurutva or gravity. Since love is an attractive force, gravity is also an attractive force. So this is why the Shiva and Shakti, or the male and female, are called as Kameshwara, Kameshwari, which the Kama means the love between them. So in this context, it is much more easier to understand it as Kameshwara being Kalki and Kameshwari being the consort of Kalki, which is Valai, the form represented by Balaji or Bala, etc. So you have this singularity right in the center, which is nothing but both Valai and Kalki, or Kameshwara and Kameshwari, are forms of the Guru, to create the force. Just like how for electric force you create positive and negative charges, for the gravity force you create Kameshwara and Kameshwari, so that their attraction creates gravity, and that whole thing is present inside the singularity. So that is why usually we say, when we talk about the Bindu, we say that the Bindu itself has three different portions. One is white in color, one is red in color, and one is a mixture of white and red. So it refers to white being Shiva or Kameshwara, red being Shakti or Kameshwari, and the mixture is the mediator of love between Kameshwara and Kameshwari, which is the Guru itself. In this case, we consider the Guru in Sri Vidya to be Dattatreya. So, because Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma. So, Guru is the form of Brahma, Vishnu and Maheshwara. When you combine all these three together, in this case, Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara signify the creation, preservation and destruction operations of the universe, of the dream reality. Since this Sri Chakra is the map of reality during all these different states, we consider the Guru also to be present during all the three states, and that combined form of the Guru is called Dattatreya, which has manifested itself in the form of Shirdi Sai Baba. So it is Dattatreya, Kameshwara and Kameshwari in the form of Shirdi Sai Baba, Kalki and Valai. So that is the singularity, the Bindu. Alright, so that is what causes all the curvature to form. So which means a 1D line, a one-dimensional horizontal, just a simple horizontal line or lines, set of lines between Ida and Pingala have now become an entire complex two-dimensional concentric circular structure, which we call as Sri Chakra. Now we can confirm that the Sri Chakra is two-dimensional. Now you might say that we do have three-dimensional Sri Chakra, like for example Meru, what we call as Mahameru. But if you look at Mahameru, so Mahameru is a three-dimensional representation where the Bindu, the whole structure is converted into a cone-like formation, a pyramid-like formation, where the Bindu is at the top and each layer, successive layer, is below it, so that the outermost square is at the bottommost layer. Now, even here, the Bindu only curves the structure in two dimension, because the third dimension, the height is always flat. Every single layer, concentric layer, is flat. Which means the attraction of the Bindu is only occurring over two dimensions, length and breadth. It is not attracting over height. If it was attracting over height, then all the height, the several layers of the avaranas or enclosures would also have curved, so that the whole thing will look like a half-cut onion, where the center is the Bindu and each layer of the onion curves towards the center in length, width and height. But that is not how we depict the Meru or we create the Meru. So you can forget about the Meru for now. You can just talk about the Sri Chakra as a two-dimensional diagram where God is at the singularity at the center. There are two axes. The horizontal axis is Ida Pingala. The vertical axis is time from top to bottom. And the whole thing is being curved into concentric layers and circles because of the presence of God in the center, which is composed of Guru, Kameshwara and Kameshwari. Okay. So, which means the way to understand this graph is to look at path from top to bottom. So, which means, so what is top and what is bottom? So, if you are saying that time is the line or axis from top to bottom, earliest time is at the top and latest time is at the bottom. So, what is the earliest time and what is the latest time? How do you understand that? So, the earliest time is the time when you wake up, because if creation or reality or what we are seeing the world right now is a creation, it's a dream. When is the dream created? The dream is created when you wake up from sleep, because that is when you create the world, and you run the creation throughout the day until you go to sleep, until you next go to sleep, be it in the afternoon or night or whatever, or you go into some kind of a samadhi state, because when you go there you destroy the creation. The next day another new creation starts. So what we have to understand is every single day is a new creation. Today's world is not yesterday's world. It is a new creation today. You have created it today morning and it's going to get finished by today night. Tomorrow is a new creation. Day after tomorrow is a new creation. Every day is a new creation. So we are mistaken and we understand that the world continues. Yesterday's world is the same as today's world. No. It is not. That is the first thing about reality that we should try to understand. So the topmost point in the Sri Chakra is the point of waking up, the first moment of waking up. And then at the bottommost point of the Sri Chakra is the point where we finally go to sleep at night. So time progresses from top to bottom, but we will take part in that time based on Ida or Pingala. So based on which of the two nadis are dominant, we will either take the rightward path or the leftward path. So for example, let us say you are at this particular point in the Sri Chakra. Now at this point, your time has passed from morning till this point. Now at this point, based on your nadi, you will either go right or you will go left. You can actually test it even now. Like just put a finger under your nose, like near your upper lip, and see. You will find that more breathing, more exhalation is coming through one of the two nostrils. It may either be the right or the left. So if more air is going in and coming out through the right nostril, then your Pingala is active. You will take the rightward path. If it is going through the left, then your Ida is active. You will take the leftward path. Which means if you are right, and if you observe this, you will easily find that the days whenever your right nostril is active, you will feel very active, very physical, very energetic. And the days when your left nostril is active, you will feel more philosophical, mental, intellectual focus will be much higher. So that defines the path that we take. Now, so based on when, so we branch. When we feel the dominance of the Ida and Pingala, we will branch. So till that, time will continue in a straight line from top to whichever point we are activating our Ida and Pingala, and then it will take this path based on the activation. It will come back to the southern point, and then it will join again and it will go till the very end, which means at each and every point the Ida and Pingala will split. So you will take either one of these two paths based on your Ida or Pingala. Now, what people usually have is they have a sense of ahankara or ego, where it is a product of Maya. It's an unavoidable product of Maya. So, because of the ahankaram, they feel that the path that they have taken is correct. And if they observe somebody else taking the opposite path, they feel that it is wrong. So, it is the ahankaram which gives the sense of morality, a sense of their path being correct and the other's path being wrong. That morality is nothing but a maya. It's an illusion caused by ahankara. Now, Devi herself or God by themselves is beyond dharma and adharma. That is why we find in Lalita Sahasranamam, dharma dharma vivarjita. She is beyond dharma and adharma. She doesn't have dharma or adharma simply because nirahankara. She doesn't have ahankara. So it is ahankaram which creates the idea of one of the two paths being dharma and the other path and anybody else following that path being adharma, immoral. So that is one thing. Second thing is, if you notice, the outermost layer of the Sri Chakra is a square, but every other Sri Chakra enclosure called avarna is circular or concentric and all that. So in physics, this is called as event horizon. So when there is a singularity, in physics we call it as a black hole. So when there is a singularity like a god or guru at the center, its gravitational pull will exert until a certain level. And everything in that region, which is called the event horizon, everything inside the event horizon will be subject to its pull of gravity and will curve around it. Everything outside the event horizon will not be affected too much by the gravity. So, this three circles that we are seeing here, the three concentric circles, plane circles that we are seeing here, is called the event horizon. And these three circles, one black, one blue and another black. So these three circles represent the three avasthas or stages of consciousness. And the three avasthas are called Jagrat, Swapna and Sushupti. So Jagrat means the state of waking up, the normal state where we are awake, alert, aware and all that. Swapna is the state of dream, where we go to sleep and we have dreams, where we create an entire world inside our head and we view it. Then you come to Sushupti, the stage of deep sleep, where in sleep there is no dream, just plain sleep, very deep state of sleep. So these are the three lines, and the devatas are also mentioned for the three. So in Lalita Sahasranamam we have Vishwarupa Jagarini. So the outermost line is called Vishwarupa, which is nothing but Vishwakarma. That is the outer line which represents Jagarat state, awakeful state. Then Vishwarupa Jagarini Swapanti Taijasatmika. So Taijasatmika, Tejas or Agni, is the deity of dream, Swapna. So the middle circle, the blue circle. Then you have Supta Prajnatmika. So Prajna, which is known in Buddhism as Prajna Paramita. Prajna Devi is the goddess of the Supta or Sushupti state, which is the inner circle. So these three circles represent the three devatas or the three states or three avasthas. That forms the event horizon of singularity of God. So anybody existing in any of these three states means they have entered the play of God. They have entered the field of gravity and they will be subject to the gravitational force of God. Obviously, literally every single moment of our life we are going to be either in Jagrat or Swapna or Sushupti Avastha. So every single moment of our life we will be affected and influenced by the gravity and the force of God. Okay, so that is an understanding of the event horizon. Now, so ideally, if you look at people like Ramana Maharshi and all that, they will say that you have to focus. So the moment you wake up, if you consciously focus on, you know, and be aware or alert of what is happening right the moment immediately after you wake up, or you wake up from samadhi or whatever, then you will be able to understand reality. Why? Because that first few moments where time starts right at top, and then it it is a little bit of time until it enters the event horizon. So that space just before waking up, or the last few moments before you just go to sleep, where again time has exited the event horizon and it is passing through before it finishes off completely. So either of these 2 points, you have to consider it as the state where you are outside the event horizon and you can get a view of reality from outside. So a lot of yogis and maharishis like Ramana Maharshi focus on that particular stage duration of time. Now, so now the question is, at what time does the diversion to Ida and Pingala take place? So it takes place as soon as you wake up. As soon as you wake up, as soon as time crosses the event horizon, immediately the Ida and Pingala will start, and you will take either of the 2 paths. But there is a way by which you can control this also. See, remember that the vertical axis is time, right? Time flows from top to bottom. Time is known as Kala, and Kala is also a name given to Yama. So Yama, what does Yama mean? Yama means restraint or control. Control of what? Control of our mind. So by controlling our mind, you can have a restraint. So you can travel along the time axis without deviating into Ida and Pingala paths. So that is possible. But how is it possible? So there are 5 yamas being mentioned. They are the first stage of yoga. So the 5 yamas are Asteya, non-stealing; Aparigraha, non-possession; Satya, which is truth; Ahimsa, non-violence; and Brahmacharya, which is celibacy. So these 5 principles are known as yamas. By practicing these yamas, what happens is you restrain your mind from getting carried away by either Ida or Pingala mode of operation. So what happens is, instead of directly diverging right or left in this layer, you will go straight. You will go straight until the point you decide to follow the yama. And wherever you decide to stop following the yama, at that point you will start diverging left or right. So that is the way you can control and you can diverge or take the left or right path at a later stage. Now, what happens if you never diverge from yama and niyama? Then you will never take a right or left path. You will go straight to the center and you will reach the point of God. But that is what is called as Advaitam or Sayujya, where you have the experience of Shivoham, or you become God, or you experience your identity as God directly, as Guru, Kameshwara, Kameshwari, whatever it is. That is the Advaita Bhavana, where you become God. But please note that time is progressing, constantly and continuously progressing from top to bottom. So this will be a very brief, very momentary experience, and it will continue its progress downward. So very briefly only you can be associated with God, and after that you will have to start going down again. So for a brief moment you can have this Advaita, Sayujya Anubhava. That is there. If you completely practice yama, completely restrain yourself from deviating at all. But also note here that if you do that, if you practice the yamas, time will automatically take you to Advaita. You don't need any sadhana, any practice, any meditation and all that. So if you find somebody telling I am meditating and I am having the experience of Shivoham, I am having the vision of Advaitam or reality or Nirgunam or Parabrahmam, so I am meditating. First of all, understand that they have not touched Advaita. They have, and only because they have not touched Advaita, they are in some other path somewhere. They want a vision of Advaita, so they are creating a vision of Advaita in their head, a simulation of Advaita inside their head, a simulation of Nirgunam inside their head, which is, if you put it crudely, it is fantasy. They are fantasizing about Advaita when they are somewhere else in the graph. They are not in the center. But if you practice the yamas strongly enough, you don't need to meditate at all. You will be automatically taken to the center. You don't need to do anything at all. And that is what very simple people have done that. So you have, for example, say Prahlada or Dhruva or these kind of child devotees, or Mirabai, or these people who have not had any formal training or meditation or jnanam and all that. They don't need it. All they do is practice the yamas strictly and strongly, and they will be automatically taken to Advaita experience. But again, remember, it is a momentary experience. You will cross over it and come down. Okay. Now, so we have now discussed about how we can go either left or right, what we can do to prevent that and go straight, at which stage you can split left or right, all that is done. Now this is the concept of a spiritual consort, spiritual marriage, because so this, as I told you, is bhakti, Advaita, but there is something else called Anandam. So what is Anandam? Is making this entire game of reality into a blissful experience for you. How do you do that? How do you do that is you create your own gravitational force. So just like how the Guru created Kameshwara and Kameshwari as versions of itself and created the love between them to operate a gravity, you can actually do that. So you can create a version of yourself and of opposite gender, and you both can be a spiritual couple, so that opposite gender becomes your spiritual consort. And then what happens? You can play this game. So when you can play this game, so only a person who has successfully created a spiritual consort is worthy of being called as a Jivatma. Otherwise you are not a Jivatma, you are just a Jiva. Okay, so when you create the spiritual consort, what happens is at whatever stage you break, if you choose the right hand path, your consort will choose the left hand path, because the gravity is a pure energy, a chargeless energy. So, and it is created out of vacuum. So to balance the charges, if one takes a positive charge, the other has to take a negative charge. This is called as pair creation in physics. So from vacuum you have a negatively charged electron and a positively charged anti-electron will be created together as a pair. So this pair production or pair creation will work. So if you are taking the right hand path, your spiritual consort will definitely take the left hand path. So what happens is you can have the experience of both right and left together at every single point. So you can take one path, the consort will take another path, and the both will flow along with the progress of time. So you progress along this path, your consort will progress along this path. You will experience a temporary sense of separation, because what was together is now being taking different paths and at opposite ends of the chakra. But at the end of the experience, both your spiritual consort and you will join at the bottom point. So when you join after being separated, the joy of joining together feels much higher. Just like how when you go to the bright and hot sun and then when you come back to the shade feels even more cooler because of you burning in the sun. Like that, burning in separation and then joining back makes you feel the love much more intense. So that way you can enjoy the love with your consort every single day. And this enjoyment is called as kaulachara. So that is the enjoyment with your consort. Sometimes the spiritual consort is called as Mahamudra or Mudra Shakti. Okay, and that enjoyment which comes at the very end after, so you get the best of both experiences, both Ira and Pingala, throughout the journey, and at the end of the journey you get the Anandam also. So that is called Satchid Anandam. Okay, now we shall explore the various Avaranas. So for now, let us leave the square. We will come back to that. We will look at all the Avaranas or enclosures inside the event horizon. So when you cross the event horizon, we come to the first enclosure inside, which is the 16 petals. So you can see this layer of 16 petals here. This layer is called Sarvasha Paripuraka Chakra. So what does Sarvasha Paripuraka Chakra mean? Asha means desires. Asai, we call it in Tamil. See, what happens is, so a person who is entering this path, it means that he has no yama, no restrictions whatsoever. So he doesn't follow any principles of right conduct, morality, nothing. So for him, anything and everything is fine. If he desires, he will do it. He won't restrain himself at all, no yama. So directly, as soon as the event horizon comes, he will take the path. He will take either left or right. However, he is driven by his desires. He will just go to the path of his desire. So if he takes the right hand path, then you can say that his desire is more physical, and if he takes the left hand path, you can say his desires are driving him to a more intellectual, mental kind of a path. So please note that it is in this chakra that you have the devil itself directly, because there is no desires, there is no morality. I mean, there is complete dominance of desire, there is no morality, there is no yama. So obviously you will associate this chakra with the devil directly, shaitan. Now, so this chakra is Sarvasha Paripuraka Chakra. The next chakra is Sarva Samkshobhana Chakra. So here what happens is, the person is a little more sensible. He is not being driven by his desire directly. He says, no, I am not just going to do anything and everything because I feel like it, but I will wait. If something is really required, if the desire becomes strong in me, then I will take action. Otherwise I will not take action. So he feels like that. So he looks at reality like that. So he doesn't just get activated for any desire, but only for desires which become strong enough to activate him, agitate him. Agitation, right? So that is what Samkshobhana means. So that's why this chakra is called Sarva Samkshobhana Chakra. So when a desire has become an agitation inside you, it has completely taken over your mind. You cannot avoid it. You can no longer avoid the desire, so you have to take action like that. So that catching hold of the mind, grabbing the mind completely, is called Grahanam or Graham. That is why in this Avarana, you can see all the different Grahas. So there is Shukra, there is Chandra, there is Angaraka or Mangal, there is Rahu, there is Shani, there is Ketu, Brihaspati or Guru, and then there is Buddha. So all the 8 Grahas or planets, except for the sun itself, all the 8 are here. So these 2 chakras are driven by desire. So they come under Kama. When we say there are 4 Purusharthas called Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, this is Kama, because you are working on the principle of desires, either acting straight away or waiting for it to materialize and then acting. Now, of course, we have to understand that some of the Shaktis here are split, and you can represent some of these in the Indian system, some of these in the occult Western system of the tarot. So both systems, both the Shaktis of both systems are all present inside the Sri Chakra. With that being said, now why is that? Is because Sanskrit and Hebrew are the Sukshma and Stula Sharira Bhashas, but that is a topic for a different day. But with just that background, let us explore the devatas of the second Avana, Sarvasha Paripuraka Chakra. So in the Pingala part, you have Lopamudra Devi, which is Kaveri Devi, and then you have got Chinnamasta in the form of Karmari Amma or Renuka, and then you have Kubjika, which is the Shakti, and then you have got Akasha Shakti, which is in the form of Sarabeshwara or Sarabeshwari, and then you have got Ugratara or Tara Devi, who is basically Uma Shakti. Then you have got Bhuvaneshwari Devi, and you have got Ida Devi, Ila Devi or Vindyavasini, and you have got Anjana Devi, which is also known as Anumanta Atharvana Kali, and you have got the fool, the simpleton of Tarat. So that is the Pingala part. In the Ida part, you will have, again you will start with Lopamudra, then you will go for Gayatri Devi, then Bhairavi, Tripura Bhairavi, the devil, of course, the devil being none other than Pashupatishwara, and then you have Ashwini or Ashwarudha Devi, also known as Tiraskarni Devi. You have Aghora Devi, which is a form of Bala Tripura Sundari. Then you will have Ambika Devi, also known as Kushmanda, and the chariot of the Tarot. Finally, it will also join with the fool. So we have seen the devatas of the second enclosure, Sarvasha Paripuraka Chakra, and the third enclosure, Sarva Shamshobhana Chakra. Both of these come under the Kama aspect because you are being driven by your desires. Now, if you hold on, if you practice Yama, and you don't give in to desires, you hold it. Then you go to the next stage where, okay, I will not be, just because something feels like it, I won't do it. But if something is beneficial for me, if something gives me money, then I will take action. You are placing money as the focus. That is the fourth and the fifth avarana. Fourth is Sarva Saubhagyadayaka Chakra, and fifth is Sarvartha Sadhaka Chakra. So, what are these two chakras? These two chakras, because Saubhagyam means fortune or money, and then Sarvartha Sadhaka means Artha. Artha again means wealth or money. So what you say is, if something is, so you have heard about, for example, many people who say, I want to earn money, I want to save a lot of money, I want to be rich. So I give up on some of my desires, I give up on, say, partying with friends and all that. I will focus that time and money for investment in something, and I will grow up myself. You have seen a lot of people like that, where they prioritize money, richness over their desires, satisfaction of desires. So that is the Sarva Saubhagyadayaka Chakra, and Sarvata Sadhaka Chakra. The only difference is Sarva Saubhagyadayaka means there is an element of fortune, which means there is an element of chance, and so it's like they choose to take risk, chance, like for example stock trading, share market trading, and these kind of investments where there is a chance or element of probability being involved. So they give in to that, they give importance to money, but they also prefer to go by the path of risk. They don't mind it. But Sarvata Sadhaka, the people in this layer, they focus on money, but money earned through their achievement and not through chance and luck. So they forego even those opportunities and say, I will only exert myself when I find that it actually, I am able to do something and I am able to achieve it, and I am able to get the reward for it. So that is Sarvata Sadhaka Chakra. Now notice that in all these, when I say exert, obviously it means choosing the Pingala or Ida part. And exert means that either it can be physical exertion or intellectual, mental exertion, speculation, understanding, reasoning, everything comes under Ida. So both are exertion. So if you are practicing yama, it means you have to restrain yourself from physically doing it as well as even thinking about it, because thinking about something is very equivalent and very much as valid as actually physically doing it. That is what we must understand. If you choose the path of yama, you should not just not do it also, but you should stop thinking about it. You should completely silence your mind. That alone can be called yama. Anyhow, so let's look at the deities of Sarva Saubhagyadayaka Chakra. So you have got the Lover's card in the tarot, and then choosing the Pingala path, you go to Rajamatangi, then the Star card of the tarot, Bagalamukhi Devi, Kamakshi Devi, and the High Priestess of the tarot, the Moon card of the tarot. You finally end with the Wheel of Fortune, because this is the Sarva Saubhagyadayaka Chakra. Now if you go by the Ida part, start with the Lover's card, you go with Ganga Devi, which is nothing but Varuni Devi, the Shakti of Varuna. Then you have Saraswati Devi, Kali, Mahakali. Then you have got Yakshi Devi, Isaki Amma. And then you have the Empress or the Queen of the tarot. Then you have Brahmadi Devi, also known as Madhumati or Madhuvidya. And you end up with the Wheel of Fortune. In Sarvata Saraka Chakra, you start with the Death card of tarot, Mrityu. And then you go to Kamadenu, Dhumavati Devi, which is nothing but Dakshayani or Sati or Jeshta. Then you go to the Strength card of the tarot, the World card of the tarot, and you end up with Manasa Devi. In the Ida part, you start with Death, then you go with the Tower card of the tarot, Lalita Devi, who is also known as Katyayani or Katai. Then you have got the Magician card of the tarot. Then you have got Patini Devi, also known as Karnaki or Bhadrakali. And you again end up with Manasa Devi. So these are the the Sarvasha Paripuraka and Sarva Samkshobana were the Kama. In Dharmartha Kama Moksha, it is Kama. Sarva Saubhagyadayaka and Sarvata Saraka Chakras are Artha. Now the next two chakras are called Sarva Rakshakara Chakram and Sarva Rogahara Chakram. So here what happens is, you choose to practice yama from the creation of time all the way. So it enters the event horizon, you practice restraint. Then desires come, you practice restraint. Then opportunities for money also come, you practice restraint. And then now you take action. Now you take action because you feel that because of all these continuous desires and money and temptations and all that coming, you start to think maybe something is affecting me, like some force is trying to brainwash me, manipulate me and influence me into doing all this. So I will exert myself to protect against this force. You feel that way. So it is called Sarva Rakshakara Chakra. You are trying to protect yourself, Raksha. So you feel that I want to protect myself from temptations and desires, and so you take action. So that in Rogahara it is even more, because even that temptation you resist, or you evolve much further thinking no, nobody is trying to brainwash me or influence me, it is a imagination of my own mind, but I want to clean the imagination of my own mind, so I will exert. So in these two conditions you are exerting yourself either along Pingala or Ida for the purpose of restoring righteousness, either to save yourself from brainwashing or to clean yourself of imaginations, which both of which correspond to dharma, purity. So that is Sarva Rakshakara and Sarva Rogahara Chakra. In Sarva Rakshakara Chakra, who are the devatas? We have the Judgment card of tarot, the Hierophant or the Priest card, then you have got Justice, then the Sun card of tarot, the Hermit card, and finally the Hanged Man, which is Lord Odin. So that is the Pingala part. In the Ida part you have got the Angel Temperance card, Siddhilakshmi Devi, the Emperor card of tarot, Goddess Pratyangara, and finally again the Hanged Man. Now in the Sarva Rogahara Chakra, you have the Ashtamangalas. The devatas of Sarva Rogahara are what you call as Ashtamangala, or 8 auspicious elements. In that you have at the center you have got Srivatsam, and then going by the Pingala route you have Kalasha, Matsya Yugala, Darpanam, mirror, and Bhadrasana. In the Ida route you will have Swastika, Nandyavarta, Sampushti, and Bhadrasana. So these are the elements in the Sarva Rogahara Chakra. Okay, what happens if you maintain your Yama even beyond this? Even beyond the temptation for desire, the temptation for money, the temptation for purity, all of that you cross. And then, so if you cross all of these temptations, you are called as a Siddha. At that point, you then choose to exert yourself to experience the power of the Chit Shakti, the mind or consciousness. For that point, you take a path. So if you do that, what happens is that is what is called as the 8th avarana, which is called Sarva Siddhi Prada Chakra. So there you evolve, or you take the Ida or Pingala path. So what is there? So in the 8th chakra, which is nothing but a single triangle, the downward central triangle of the Sri Chakra, on the 3 corners are 3 devatas, Kameshwari, Vajreshwari, Bhagamalini, and then there are the 4 ayudas of Devi, Pasha, Ankusha, Pushpa, Bana, Chapa. That is to say, it is Devi herself who is tempting you with Pasham and Ankusham, which represents desire and hatred or anger. Ragaswarupa Pashadya Krodhakarang Kushojvala Manorupeksha Koranda Ikchu Tanmatra Chayaka. So the Koranda Ikshu is the Manas, and the Tanmatras, the Pancha Tanmatras are the Shayikas or the arrow. So Ragaswarupa Pashadya is this one, the desire. Krodhakarang Kushojvala is anger, the Ankusha. Manorupekshu Koranda, which is the mind, and Pancha Tanmatra Sayika are the 5 senses. So these are the weapons of Devi, because you have successfully crossed all the temptations, but Devi wants you to experience the play of reality. So she herself tempts you with Pasham, Ankusham, Pushpavavanam, and Chapam. And if you fall for that, you are a Siddha, and you will circle the 8th avarana. So there you have got, in the center you have got Maha Tripura Sundari Devi, and with if you choose the Pingala part, you will have Pasham, Vajreshwari represented by the Vajra, then the Banam, Manorupekshu Koranda, which is represented by the bow, then you have got the Panchatanmatra Shayika seen by the arrow, Bhagamalini seen as the you also have the Shivalingam between the bow and arrow, which is Kameshwari. Then you have got Bhagamalini seen as the flower. Then finally you have got Ankusham, which is Krodhakarang Kushojvala. So that is the devatas of the 8th avarana, 8th enclosure. Now, if you pass that test also, then you go beyond the Siddha. Because Siddhas are the ones who are tempted by the Pasha Ankusha of Devi. Now you go beyond the Siddha level. So beyond the Siddha level is called Samaya. Here again, Devi, so this at the Siddha level, Devi tempts you in the form as Mahatripura Sundari. And that is why she is mentioned inside a triangle. The 3 points of a triangle is why she is called Tripura. Now if you go to the Bindu, so the next avarana is called the Sarvanandamaya Chakra, which is nothing but the Bindu, the singularity. But remember that Devi is in the Bindu in the form known as Vale or Bala. So the Bala also has 4 hands and 4 postures. So she has Shankam and Chakra in her top 2 hands, and her bottom hand is in the form of Varadahasta, which is giving boons and all that, and then Katihasta, which is the hand of embracing in devotion. So she has 4 hands. So that is the form of Bala. So if you enter the 9th avarana, Bala herself will tempt you and make you take the path of her weapons and ayudas, because she will make you play around the Sarvanandamaya Chakra. So that is called Samaya. A person who is able to master this, reach this level and go around the Sarvanandamaya Chakra is called as a Samayachara. Samayachari. So there what happens, if you choose the Ida, the Pingala path, then you will first go with the Shankha of Bala, and then the Katihasta, the hand of devotion. Then you will come down to the sword, which is another weapon of Bala, the sword which is called as Nandaki, the sword of happiness. Then you will go to the Varadahasta, the boon giving hand, and then finally the Chakra, also known as Sudarshana Chakra. So these are the elements of the 9th Avarana, Sarvanandamaya Chakra. So what happens here is, the Chakra represents time and Shankha represents space, because Chakra is like time, like a clock going round and round and round. Shankha is space, where you blow into a very small hole and it expands, the air expands into the entire area of the volume of the Shankha and produces the sound. So it is a sound or space. Shankha is space in the form of sound. Chakra is time in the form of light. That's why it's called Sudarshana, clear perception of light. So using light and sound, space and time, and material blessings, Varadahasta, and spiritual devotion, Katihasta, as well as happiness, the Nandaki, sword, using all these 5 elements, Bala will tempt you and make you go around the Sarvanandamaya Chakra. So there is no way to escape her temptation, because she is in the Sarvanandamaya Chakra, and the person who has crossed the Siddha level will actually go around in this chakra. A very, very select few people who she herself decides, will go even beyond this temptation and will directly enter the stage of Kameshwara, Kameshwari and Guru, where they will have the Advaita or Sayujya experience of completely merging with Shiva and Shakti, called as Shivoham. That is given for a very, very select few people, which she herself chooses. There is absolutely nothing that we can do to enter that. There is nothing by our own effort that we can do for that. But we have to understand, even if that happens, it is momentary, and you will again, as I told earlier, you will cross down and finish the rest of the path. So this is how we have to understand the various avaranas and the devatas of the Sri Chakra. Now, so obviously the 8th and 9th avarana, which is the Sarvasiddhi Prada with all the weapons of Tripura Sundari, Sarvanandamaya with all the weapons of Bala, as well as the final Kameshwara, Kameshwari, Shivoham, everything comes under moksha. So as we see, the two Sarvasha Paripurka, Sarva Samkshopana as Kama, Sarva Saubhagyadayaka and Sarvata Saraka as Artha, Sarva Rakshakara and Sarva Rogahara as Dharma, Sarva Siddhi Prada and Sarvanandamaya are Moksha. So those are the Purusharthas. Now let us take a moment to understand the shapes of these different avaranas. By and large, you might have noticed that these two layers, the Sarvasha Paripurka and Sarva Samkshopana, are petals, resemble the petals of a lotus, while the other avaranas are all triangles. Now again we must understand that these are all shapes which, if you are seeing it as concentric, it is concentric only because time has, or the singularity, God has bent it into a circular form. Remember, initially they are all straight horizontal lines. So if you expand this chakra, this section of the chakra with Lopamudra, Mariamma and Kubjika, let us just take that. If you expand this section, what you will have is, they will all be horizontally next to each other in a straight line like this. So, and they will all have lotus petals. So what does a lotus petal mean? So the base of the petal is flat, which means there is no significance or relation with respect to time, because time is the one which flows from top to bottom. Since it is flat, it is neither before or after in time, it's at a constant level in time. But the petal itself, if you trace the path, so it starts at a point in time, goes backward in time, backward, fully back at the earliest point in time, then it starts going forward at the latest point in time. So it's a backward and then a forward movement of time within the petal itself. So now if you look at the triangle, also. So again, if you expand these three things, the three deities, into a horizontal line, so if you turn this oblique line into horizontal, what you will have is three straight lines with all upward facing triangles. So which means all these avaranas from four, like Sarva Saubhagyadayaka till Sarva Rogahara, they are all upward triangles. So upward triangles where they are again, so triangle also means that the base is flat, there is no relation with time, but the structure, this movement with a slanting line goes backward in time until a point, and then it goes forward in time. So this backward and forward movement in time within a single petal or a triangle is nothing but memory. Like when you are at a particular stage, you do have memories of the past which keep pulling you back in time and then releasing you back into the present situation. So that is memory. Memory is what creates this backward and small backward forward movements in time within a single petal or a triangle. So that is memory. Now the memory again only works in one direction, because we can only remember things of the past, we do not know things of the future. Anyhow, that is how memory works. But why petal and why triangle? So if it's a triangle, then it's a flat linear line with a straight slope, which means the rate at which your memory occurs is very linear, very proportional, very straightforward. Or your memory is very straightforward, like it goes straight away to the past and again comes back to the present. But if it's a petal, it's not a straightforward line. So it goes rapidly to the past a little bit, then remains almost flat, then again goes again to the past to the earliest point, and then it takes a very similar route to come back to the present. So that distortion, it's a distortion. You are not going to your memories in a straightforward manner and coming back. Your rate of retrieving memory is distorted. Why is it distorted? Because you are being driven by desires here. In both these chakras, you are being driven by desires, which is distorting your mind. In Tamil, there is a proverb telling "Asai kanna maraikkudu," or the desires are literally blinding your eye, creating a distortion. But in the other avaranas, like Sarva Saubhagya, Sarvartha Saraka, Sarva Rakshakara and Sarva Rogahara Chakra, the memory is straightforward. In Sarva Siddhipara Chakra, it is a downward triangle. So where the memories take a completely inverse route. Because at this point you are being influenced by Devi or goddess. So in the 8th avarana, it is the goddess which is influencing you, and you are not taking the path of your own will. So that is called a surrender or Sharanagati. So if the goddess is taking the path, she comes from the future. See, for example, humans usually approach things from the past. So for example, if we say that I want to do so and so thing, a particular thing, it is because we have thought about it in the past, we have made some plans, we have done similar thing in the past, we have some experience. So we say, okay, in the past I have so and so experiences, so I know how this thing will work, so I will do it. But when God gives you a certain thing, it is not because of the past memory, it is because of the future, because God knows past, present and future. So God gives you something because He is expecting something out of it in the future. He knows that you will use this in a certain manner, and in the future you will get so and so result. So with the futuristic aim only, God is giving you something. He is not giving you with past in mind, it's giving you with the future in mind. So which means the triangle is inverted, and that is how you get the Sarva Siddhipara Chakra. Sarvanandamaya Chakra is even beyond it. It is completely Bindu, because you have reached the stage of Shivoham. So there is no bother, you are not bothered about the past, you are not bothered about the future, you are just happy in the present. And that is called Ashwa. Shwa means yesterday, Shwa also means tomorrow. Ashwa means not yesterday, not tomorrow, just right here, right now, enjoying yourself. In the context of Valai Kalki, the Guru, Dattatreya, is called Devadatta, and it is a horse, Ashwa. That is what Ashwa means, the horse. The attitude of being in the present, not influenced by memory or future or anything for that matter. So that is the understanding of all the chakras and devatas and everything within the event horizon. Now let us go outside the event horizon to the square. The square is known as Bhupura Chakra or Trailokya Mohana Chakra. So why is it called Bhupura Chakra? Let us explore that. So in the square we find that so in the square what we observe is that there is a discontinuity. So when you say there is a discontinuity, so these are outside the influence of gravity. So if you want to travel in the path, in the square path, like say for example from this topmost point which is seen as Kaumari to the point at the left or right which is seen as Chamunda, how do you do it? So how do you do it is that there is no progress in time because they are almost at the same level, which means even without any time passing you should reach the state of highest Pingala from neutral almost instantly. Now how can you do something instantly? Instantly at this moment you should be at both zero state, no influence, as well as the highest Pingala influence. Immediately you should reach that state in a very infinitesimal small duration of time or almost instantly. So that break in continuity can only be achieved by the dream state. So in the dream state what happens is so for example let us say you are traveling in a train from Chennai to Delhi. If you are in real state you will take a train that will take at least one day to go from Chennai to Delhi, and you will have to travel the entire time. You cannot cut short. It will take in one day. You have to do something and you have to manage the entire one day to reach Delhi. But if it is a dream and you are dreaming about going in a train from Chennai to Delhi, what will happen is the first scene you will see yourself in Chennai, and then the next scene you will see yourself in Delhi in the way they show in movies. So the journey between Chennai to Delhi, the time difference is not shown because instantly you are able to cut from the scene in Chennai to the scene in Delhi. So there is no continuity of time. You are cutting and breaking the continuity of time. That is the only way by which you can travel from one point to another point in a single instant without time passing at all. That is only possible in a dream state or in an astral state. So astral travel is nothing but visualization, where we visualize ourselves traveling with a subtle body called Sukshma Sharira into different planes of existence. And that is nothing but the dream. But in dream we are ignorant of that happening. So because we are ignorant, we cannot control the way in which scenes are cut or continuity is broken. We do not have control in the dream because we believe that the dream is real. Until we get up, we still have the feeling that the dream is very much real. So we are not able to control or dictate the continuity or the break of continuity in a dream. That is why we have seen that dream is very much in the event horizon. So when we enter the dream state, we are affected by all the chakras and God and all that, just like in the waking state. But if you are in the astral state, it means you are entering this dream or visualization state on purpose, knowing that you are entering it and wanting to achieve the break in continuity. That way you can travel through the outermost layer. So who are the gods in the outermost layer? You have got Kaumari. These are the Matrukas or the Shaktis of various deities. So Kaumari, Shakti of Muruga. Chamunda, the Shakti of Kali. Then you have got Vaishnavi, Vaishno Devi or Durga, the Shakti of Vishnu. Then you have got Mahalakshmi, also known as Chandi. Then you have got Rati Devi, also known as Sarvayoni. Then you have got Brahmi, the Shakti of Brahma. Then you have got Varahi, the Shakti of Varaha or Yama in some cases. We have got Visalakshi Annapurneshwari, which is Maheshwari, Shakti of Ishvara. And you have got Indrani, Shakti of Indra. And you have got Kurukulla Devi, which is known as Sarvakama Siddhi. So, or you can also call it as Prapti, kind of a Siddhi. So, this is the 10th. So Sarvayoni and Sarvakama are the 9th and 10th siddhis which are beyond the Matrukas, but they are very much included in the first avarna. Now practitioners of Shri Vidya take the first avarna or this Bhupada Chakra separately as Siddhi Devis, Shakti Devis and Mudra Devis, Matruka Devis, but they are basically the same, just 3 versions of the same thing. So we take them as a single form of just 10 devatas in the Bhupada Chakra. Anyway, so here we have got these 10 devatas, which you can only get to experience if you are a master in astral traveling. You are able to go from the base state to highest Ida or highest Pingala without any continuity in time. But what happens is, it gives you an experience of all these states, but it also makes you out of touch with reality, because by breaking the continuity in time, you are breaking the touch with reality also. So it gives you a good experience, but it is, if you consider its relevance of events happening inside the event horizon, then it is not relevant. It's only as good as an imagination or a hallucination or a dream state. It has no touch with reality, and that is why it is called moham. Moham means delusion, because this is a state you can experience as a fantasy, but there is no touch with reality, so it is called moham, a deluded state. For that reason, this chakra is called Trailokya Mohana Chakra. Trailokya means you are able to traverse through all the 3 states of wake, dream and deep sleep equally, because you have broken the continuity with time. So you are free to move through all the 3 worlds, but you are very deluded because there is moham, or out of touch with reality. Mohanam means delusion. So that is why this chakra is called Trailokya Mohana Chakra. Okay, so with that being said, there is one last aspect of the Sri Chakra that we need to look at. There are 4 devatas here. We have Vishnu, we have Shiva, we have Ganapati and we have Surya. So with Shakti herself in the center, this is called as Panchayatana system, or the system of worshipping 5 deities, called as the Smarta system of worship. So what do the 4 deities in the 4 corners represent? They represent 4 yugas or 4 perceptions of reality. Yuga means a way of viewing reality, and as the different ages have progressed, each viewpoint has been strong. Like for example, you hear statements in Tantra Shastras that Kalau Chandi Vinayakau. So in Kali Yuga, Chandi and Vinayaka take predominance. So you can see Vinayaka is here. You can see that Mahalakshmi, also known as Chandi, is here. So Kalau Chandi Vinayakau means this Ganapati is the Kali Yuga point of perception. What does that mean? How is it? Okay, we'll explore that. But also understand that this, so if you look at the direction, east is on top, west is at the bottom. So this is southwest. Southwest corner, also known as Niritti Mula. So Niritti, if you look at the Kalki Puranam and how Kali is born and he is a descendant of Niritti, actually Niritti god or goddess Devi. He is a descendant of this. So obviously Niritti Mula is related to Kali, and rightfully they have told Kali Kalau Chandi Vinayakau. Okay, so what does that mean? So this is Kali. So the 4 yugas, Krita Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, Kali Yuga. So Krita Yuga is here, it is Shiva. Then Treta Yuga is Vishnu, Dwapara Yuga is Surya, and Kali Yuga is Vinayaka. What does that mean? Let us explain. So this is Dharma. This is what is called as Yuga Dharma. Yuga Dharma means this point of perception or point of awareness. Yugam or Yugalam means awareness. So in Krita Yuga, the point of awareness is here. So it is in the Pingala side. So the focus in Krita Yuga is actually on doing things rather than talking about it, philosophy and all that. It's actually in doing it. And that's why Krita Yuga, Shiva is called as Satyam Shivam Sundaram. And he is in a very active form. He is in a dancing form called Nataraja. And this form, the secret of this form is that all the 5 activities of creation, preservation, destruction, hiding, and grace are represented in the form of Nataraja. Anyhow, so he is representing action. That is why he is on the Pingala side. So in Krita Yuga, people focused a lot on actually doing things. And at the start of doing itself, they encounter Shiva. Like at the moment they enter the event horizon, or even before entering the event horizon, they encounter Shiva. So what does Shiva? So what do the 4 deities do? These 4 deities are illuminators of Satya, truth. And what is truth? Truth is the fact that the Sri Chakra is the map of everything. So which means in Krita Yuga, the moment people focused on doing things, and the moment they started doing itself, they got an idea that okay, this is how the world is, this is how it works. There are 2 paths, the path of karma and the path of jnana. Time flows from top to bottom, and the person will have these 4 purusharthas and all that. So they had full knowledge of what reality is, how reality works, even before they stepped into it. So because of that, whatever actions they did was perfect, was well informed, well accomplished, perfect actions. That is what Krita means. Krita means perfectly done or well done. So that's why the Yuga was called Krita Yuga, because they chose the path of action and they were well aware of reality before they even started acting. Then you have Treta Yuga, given by Vishnu. Of course, by Vishnu we have to understand it is Rama, the highest form of Vishnu in the Treta Yuga being Rama. So what happens in Treta Yuga is that you have the view of giving importance to intellect or mind, philosophy, understanding more than action. But still here also, before entering the event horizon itself, you encounter the illumination to truth, Vishnu, here in this case. So if Shiva is called Satyam Sundaram, Satyam Shivam Sundaram, Vishnu is also called Satyanarayana. So he illuminates the Satya even before you start the activity, or you start the intellect and reasoning out and all that. So because of that, every single thing that you think about, you rationalize, you apply logic and thinking and all of the philosophy and all that, you apply with the complete knowledge of reality. So every single word that comes out of your mouth is perfect, is well informed, well accomplished, and so your words become very powerful, very strong, very heavy, and very truthful. So that was an age of where promises were held very strong and people maintained their promises very strictly. That was the specialty of Treta Yuga. So that is why Rama was a man of his words. So that's why you have this Okkapatni, Okkabana, Okkamata. Okkamata means one word, and he stuck to his word. The power of words, the power of promises, assurances, it was all very strong in Treta Yuga because they chose the path of intellect, speech and all that, but with the proper and perfect understanding of reality. Now you go to Dwapara Yuga. So here, it is the path of, again, intellect, philosophy and reasoning and all that, but only after all the actions are finished. Like completely you finish the journey of time, whichever path you are taking, whatever, and when you finally go to the event horizon and almost exit the game, that is when you understand the nature of reality, but through intellect, philosophy and all that. The best example for that is the greatest text of Dwapara Yuga, the Bhagavad Gita, because all of the game is happened, all the reality, whatever suffering that the Pandavas had to suffer, everything has been suffered. Draupadi has suffered, the Pandavas have suffered, everything has done, and finally the big great battle of Mahabharata is going on. All the sides, everybody's army is very busy, but Krishna is not bothered. He has stopped the chariot, he has stopped the war, and he is giving a detailed discourse to Arjuna on the nature of reality, on Satya. That is what we know as Bhagavad Gita. So the focus is heavily on discussions, and again it's not a simple discussion where Krishna simply says what is reality and Arjuna just listens to it, but actually it goes much more serious than that. So when I say much more serious, what happens is that it is a detailed 700 plus verses, that it's a very long discussion, a philosophy, after which Arjuna finally comes to understand the nature of reality. So importance is given to long, lengthy philosophy, discussions, debates, everything, and a review of reality after all the actions have been performed. So that is what is referred to as enlightenment. So the Surya is given because Surya is a symbol of enlightenment, light. So the enlightenment that you get through philosophy, through knowledge, through teachings and discourses after the actions have been done. That is the nature of Dwapara Yuga. Then we go to Kali Yuga. So here you have Vinayaka. What is Vinayaka? Vinayaka is the path of action, which is on the right hand side. So you do the action, so you don't have time for knowledge, intellect and all that. Look at the present Kali Yuga. You think people are going to sit and have intellectual discourses and debates like Arjuna did, or like the Buddhists do in the Nalanda University, or like the way Adi Shankara did? No. Today nobody has the patience to sit and debate and discourse and analyze facts. No. This is a Kali Yuga is the age of action. People are doing action. They are active. But without a view of reality. They have no idea of reality. This is how reality works. This is how all the modes are. What is Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha? They don't know anything. They don't know the Sri Chakra. They don't know how this is how the map of reality is. The truth is not at all shown to them, and they are not ready for intellectual either. So they are going directly into work. By the time they finish their work, then finally they understand, okay, this is what it is. So imagine, for example, that you travel a hard road, a long road. At the end of the road, you look at a map and then you say, okay, there was a shortcut that I could have taken, but you missed it. Then of course you regret, right? You have a certain sense of resentment and regret, and you say that I didn't know anything, like I was in the dark. So that is why Kali Yuga is called the age of darkness, because you enter the path of action, you do all the action, and finally you learn that this is how reality is, and that you could have had multiple choices, you could have lived life in multiple ways. Anyway, so that is compared to Vinayaka, because Vinayaka himself is an example of this. So he was created from Devi. He blocked the path of entry to Shiva, and Shiva, because obviously he didn't know who Shiva was. If he knew, he would have let Shiva in, but he didn't know who Shiva was. He blocked the entry to Shiva. Shiva cut his head off, and then with an elephant head, then finally he realized what is reality. So that is how people in Kali Yuga are. That is why Vinayaka is the god of Kali Yuga. So you might think Kali Yuga is the age of darkness, ignorance and suffering. But remember, it is the same Vinayaka, Ganesha, who had his head cut off, who had the elephant head, but because of that suffering that he underwent, he got all the boons from all the gods to attain the status of Vinayaka, like the supreme, the highest god, the first worshipped god. And he got a lot of boons because he successfully went through the suffering and stood strong at the end of it. So that is called sadhana, that is called siddhi. That is why Vinayaka is called as Siddhi Vinayaka. And that is the specialty of Kali Yuga. Even in spite of all the darkness and ignorance, this Yuga alone offers you the potential to become a master of sadhana and siddhi and go beyond the potentials that even the other yugas can offer to you. So that is the positive strength of Kali Yuga, and that is represented by Vinayaka. So that is the meaning of the word Kalau Chandi Vinayaka. So these are the four yugas, and then of course Devi herself is in the center in the form of Valai, Kalki, Guru and all that, which is to be seen as the fifth of the Panchayatana. That fifth is the fifth yuga called Satyuga. People usually think that after Krita, Treta, Dwapara, Kali, the cycle again starts to Krita Yuga. No. Actually, the fifth yuga is called Satyuga. Satyuga is different from Krita Yuga, and Satyuga is where the perception of reality is in the center itself, which means it is the complete overarching personality of the entire Sri Chakra. Like you are aware of the entire Sri Chakra at the center. So it is governed by Devi herself. So that is Satya. So those are the 4 yugas at the 4 corners and Satya Yuga at the center. So with this we have understood the entire Sri Chakra, the geometry of the Sri Chakra, the Devatas of the Sri Chakra, what it symbolizes, and the graphical view of reality. What is the aim of life? So having understood all this, we must understand that the aim of life is to enjoy every facet of it, because this is a dream. It is created for the purpose of playing and enjoyment. That is why the goddess of Sri Chakra is called as Lalita. Lalita, the name Lalita comes from the word Leela, which means to play happily and enjoy. That is the aim of the entire creation of life itself. The aim of life is to enjoy. In particular, by understanding the Sri Chakra, we have understood 16 different concepts. These 16 concepts are called as Shodashi. And enjoying all of these 16 is the aim of life. That is why Lalita herself is called as Shodashi. So what are the 16? What are the 16 enjoyments of Leela? First is Sukshma, where you happily go by astral visualization and explore the Bhupura Chakra. That is Sukshma. Then the Avasthas, the event horizon with the 3 states of Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti. So first is Sukshma, second is Avastha, third is the Asura or distorted memory of the 2 petals, 2 chakra petals. Then Sura or Deva, straightforward memory of the other 4 layers. Then Kama, the enjoyment, desire driven life of the Sarvasha Paripuraka and Sarva Sanshobhana chakras. Then Asta, or the money driven lifestyle of Sarva Saubhagyadayaka and Sarvartha Saraka chakra. Then Dharma, or righteousness driven lifestyle of Sarva Rakshakara and Sarva Rogahara chakra. Then Moksha, or liberation driven lifestyle of Sarva Siddhiprada and Sarvanandamaya chakra. And Yama, the restraint that you follow through the 5 yamas and delaying your diversion into Ida and Pingala. Dakshina, which is the Pingala path of action. Vama, which is the Ida path of Jnana, knowledge. So Dakshina and Vama being Karma and Jnana. Then Kaula, the practice of spiritual consort and enjoying both the worlds, and finally culminating in Anandam, Satchidanandam at the end. Then Advaita, the Shivoham or Sayujyam that you get in the center. Then Samaya, the temptations, playing into the temptations and surrendering to Devi as Valai or as Tripura Sundari. Then Yuga, the 4 Yuga perceptives of Shiva, Ganapati, Surya and Satyanarayana. And then the surrender, Sharanagati, which gives you the inverted time perception of the 8th avalna, Sarva Siddhipada chakra. So these are the 16 facets that we have explored in Sri Chakra, and these are the 16 things that we should enjoy in life as creation. And only when we enjoy all of the 16 completely, then we have achieved Purna Satyam, or complete experience of reality, and that is the aim of life. So to review again, I will just name the 16 things that we get to enjoy as Purna Satyam. Sukshma, Avastha, Asura, Deva, Kama, Artha, Dharma, Moksha, Yama, Karma, Jnana, Kaula, Advaita, Samayachara, Yugabeda and Sharanagati. Enjoying all these 16 gives you the perfect and complete experience and bliss of life. That is the aim of Sri Chakra, Sri Vidya, and that is the complete and real Satyam for Satya Yuga.